Hi there, everybody. Today I'm going to teach you a method I came up with for drawing in Clip Studio Paint, like a digital sketchbook of sorts. Whenever I feel like sketching down ideas like I would in a real sketchbook or just doodling, what I like to do is create a document in whatever art software I'm using where I sketch everything in. In Clip Studio Paint, that looks like this. I'll create a new layer, draw on it, hide it, and create a new layer for the next drawing. The thing is, when I want to look through my drawings, similar to flipping through the pages in a real sketchbook, it can be quite tedious since I keep having to hide and show layers anytime I want to see something. Now, Clip Studio Paint does have the layer comps feature, which is worth checking out if you haven't, but the method I'm about to show you is a bit faster, which is using the animation timeline. So let me show you how. First, we're going to create a new document. Now, you could create a new animation document, but since we're not going to be animating, let's create an illustration document instead. You can make it any size you want. I usually go with 1600 by 1200, although you may want to make it bigger. Now, once the document has been created, we're going to want to make sure the timeline palette is visible. If it's not, you can make it visible by going to the Window drop-down menu and selecting Timeline. Now, we don't have a timeline yet, so we're going to head over to Animation, Timeline, New Timeline, and select that. The New Timeline window will pop up with all these settings. Now, most of these settings won't matter to us because we're not animating. However, we want to make sure the playback time is long enough, because the amount of frames in the timeline will be equal to the amount of drawings we want to make. So I'm going to set the playback time to 200 because that's the amount of pages I have in my 100-sheet Strathmore sketchbook. You're free to use more or less than this, and you can add or remove them at any time. And we'll just press OK. So now we have a 200 frame long timeline, but we're not done setting up yet. What we have to do now is go over to the timeline palette and press this little button right here, New Animation Folder. This will create a new layer on the timeline called Folder 1, and this is where all our drawings will be housed. Now, the animation folder is currently empty, so what you're going to want to do is click this button right here, New Animation Cell, and that creates a drawing layer for us. So let's draw something. Okay, now let's create a new page. We can do that by clicking the New Animation Cell button again, but I want to show you a better way to do it, so let's go ahead and undo that and go over to the Layers palette. As you can see, we're inside the animation folder, Folder 1. And we've got our first page here, simply called 1. So I'm going to press the New Raster Layer button, and bam! We have a new layer called 2. This is the same thing that would have happened if we had pressed the New Animation Cell button on the Timeline palette, but let me show you why it's better to do it in the Layers palette. Let's say you want to make a drawing that requires multiple layers. Well, you can right-click on the current layer and select Create Folder and Insert Layer from the drop-down menu. This will put the layer into a folder of the same name. Here's why you want to do it in the Layers palette. Let's create a quick drawing using multiple layers. I'll draw a circle, create a new raster layer, drag that layer below our line art layer, and use it to color in the circle. Okay, we're done with this drawing and want to start a fresh page. Well, we could go down to the timeline and press the New Animation Cell button, but what this will do is create another folder with 2 layers in it. This can get messy pretty quickly, as you'll have a folder with multiple empty layers in it, which is only useful if we know we're going to use this many layers for each page. I tend to be more spontaneous, so the number of layers I use varies wildly. So we're going to go ahead and undo that, and instead use the Layer palette and press New Raster Layer. Make sure the folder you're currently in is closed, or else it won't create a new animation frame. And there, a fresh new page. Now at this point you can hide the timeline if you want to, because you can create new layers from the Layers palette. But here's the best part, and the reason I made this video. When you click on a layer, it immediately becomes visible. No more hiding and unhiding layers. Like I said, it's similar to using layer comps, but this saves you time on pressing the Create New Layer Comp button. Also, if you want to very quickly look through your drawings, say you're looking for a particular page and it takes too long clicking through the Layers panel, you can open back up the timeline and simply drag the cursor through it. So that's the video. Now, I know there's a few things that I might have forgotten to go over, so in case you're having any problems with this, you can just leave a comment and I'll respond to it. And also, I might make a follow-up video for this. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. So, yeah, I hope that was helpful and happy sketching.